What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Stub Club. I'm Brian.
I'm Mike.
And with me, I have Duff Goldblum. No, wait, Duff
Goldman.
Goldman.
But it's coming back.
It's coming back very slowly.
It's coming back. Duff Goldman's going out and Mike's coming in.
I mean, not really. You're just becoming more of an aged Duff Goldman. So.
Well, I could go to conventions as Genie from Aladdin.
I mean, you could.
I could
but
curl it up. But this isn't a good
look.
look.
You look more like Jafar.
That's what I was thinking too.
So.
I just need a little parrot. Okay.
Affleck. Anyways, so we are reviewing Captain America: The Civil War today.
Ooh,
Such
Brian?
a good
Oh.
movie.
Yes.
So, I have to say personally, this is in my top 3 films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because usually my films, like, once you get to know me, my films are like The Godfather. I love the Godfather series. I love Scarface. I love those kind of movies. I love the superhero movies. And I never would have thought, because I love Captain America as a character.
Right.
I never would have thought one of his movies would be in my top 3 of all time.
Oh, yeah. It's so good.
So, Mike, who was this directed by?
Joe and Anthony Russo.
The Russo brothers, who did Winter Soldier.
Right. And
are doing Avengers Infinity War.
It's so close, Brian. We're at, I think, 24, 25 days left.
I think it's 4 weeks. Because today is Friday, so
soon.
It's 4 weeks.
It's coming.
So, with them announcing that it's coming out a week early, kind of throws off all of our countdown.
Yeah, so we got to do a double.
We got to do a double, which we're probably going to be doing for Thor and Black Panther.
Yeah.
That makes the most sense.
Oh yeah.
Since the next week after that's going to be Infinity War.
Right.
But anyway, let's get back to Civil War. It has everybody in it. Every Avenger.
Pretty much every
except
Avenger
for the
we've
one
seen so far, except no, we haven't gotten Doctor Strange yet.
No, and the only ones that aren't in this, just like in the comic book, no Thor, no Hulk.
Right, because we don't know where they're
somewhere
in
the Marvel universe. And this doesn't have the Guardians, of course, because they haven't been on the Earth.
Right.
But this has Chris Evans as Steve Rogers again, Sebastian Stan as Bucky, Anthony Mackie as
Falcon.
the Falcon.
Sam Wilson.
It has
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson's back.
Robert Downey Jr.
Don Cheadle.
Paul Bettany.
Just
Tom Holland.
And hold on, let's hold on to Tom Holland just really quickly here. You kind of spoiled it just a little bit.
I mean, we don't know who that is.
Yeah, we don't know who it is just yet. They introduced a couple new characters in this. But anyways, let's start off with the plot a little bit. So the movie begins. So I'm just gonna spoil it really quickly.
3, 2, 1, go.
It begins in Serbia. Is it Serbia?
Sokovia?
No, it's not Sokovia.
No.
Sokovia's from the
Avengers. I think it's Serbia. I believe it's there.
It's one of those Russian countries which is really cold.
Snow everywhere.
And there's a book, and he starts reading this book. It has like 19, and then 78, and then Streetcar, Homecoming, stuff like that. And what he's doing is he's taking control of the Winter Soldier. And he gives him his mission, because at the end of all of the statements that he says, it's basically like the Darth Vader, "What is thy bidding, my master?" He's like,
right.
He says to him like,
"Ready to comply."
Ready to comply. And he says, "Hello." And he says, "Hello, soldier." And the Winter Soldier's there and says, "Ready to comply." And then you see him riding a bike in upstate New York, and he kills people in a car, and he steals what is the super soldier serum, basically.
Right.
So then it cuts to modern day, and it's Captain America and his team of Avengers, and they're looking for Crossbones, who was he was in Winter Soldier. I can't remember the actor's name. Do you remember his name? Man, because he's a really good actor.
He is.
But now he's playing Crossbones here. Continue doing the plot, and I'll look him up.
So it shows the crap. I forgot where we're at.
Where they're in the they're looking for Crossbones, and all of a sudden you see the garbage truck.
And there's this garbage truck that blows through this barrier, and we find out early on, before that goes through the barrier, that it is armed to capacity, and it's a battering ram essentially. So it goes through there, and then the back opens, and we get to see all these thugs with guns. They hop out, and Crossbones hops out.
Crossbones look really cool.
He did.
He's another really cool character from the comic books,
right?
And he's so
because last time that we saw Crossbones, he was in Winter Soldier, and he got really badly burned.
Yeah, he was the gentleman that got burned from the shield helicarrier coming down into the.
And if you look real closely during Winter
Soldier,
Grillo,
that's his name, Frank Grillo.
If you look closely, you can see the straps that he was wearing. They're like burned to him now, so it kind of makes like a cross kind of deal. It's the cross.
So if you read the Civil War comic book, Crossbones actually kills Captain America. Spoiler alert. But I mean, this comic book's been out since 2006, somewhere in there. So if you don't know what this is and you're a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'm sorry, but in this one, they're looking for just it's your random bacteria that will kill everything and anything that decides to.
It's the tube. It looks like the stuff that Stan Lee got a hold of. It looks like the green Mexican soda from the Incredible Hulk movie that came out back in Phase 1.
Really?
Yeah, it was like that greenish color. I think.
I didn't even notice that really.
Yeah, it looks like that.
So if that's what it is, that's pretty cool. That might be a little cool Easter egg.
Oh yeah.
So they go through this entire thing, and they're fighting through this little country. It's somewhere in Africa, which leading up to where we're going to. It's
that really big city in Africa.
It's a really big city in Africa. I don't remember which city it was.
Popular one. Shoot, I can't remember the name of it.
And there's this whole 3 different fight scenes where Captain America's fighting Crossbones, the Falcon's helping Black Widow get the serum or whatever that is, the poison.
They're chasing the guy that's got it.
Yeah, and they end up getting it, and they introduce the little robot. And in the comic books, it's supposed to be an actual Falcon, but in this, they made it just a robot, which is really cool. And they're like, "Here, pet it, it's cute."
Red Wing.
Yeah, Red Wing, pet him, he's cute. And then they go back to Captain America, and he knocks off Crossbones' mask. And he wasn't as badly burned as I would think he would be going this insane about it.
Oh yeah.
He was burned, but it wasn't all over his face.
It wasn't like Deadpool burned.
Yeah, he was this part of the face was just there.
Like a little smear.
Yeah, but I mean his ear always got him because it was basically closed. That was bad. But so he's talking about it, and he says something about Bucky, and that gets Cap thinking, and he gets him confused, and all of a sudden you see Crossbones go like this, and that means he has a bomb on him.
Yeah.
So what happens is that the Scarlet Witch, who's with them, if you saw Avengers: Age of Ultron, which she's now an Avenger, she puts him into a ball of her telekinesis powers and lifts him up and tries to get him out and tries to get him up into the air so that he can explode.
But she doesn't go high enough with it. Explodes, destroys this building, a bunch of people in it. People die, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
it's that was crazy, but it finally showed that oh my god, there's a lot of collateral damage in this caused by the Avengers.
Buildings and people.
Oh yeah, I mean with the New York battle, because we're just going a little bit further, but I'm gonna hold off on that really quickly, because then they showed this next scene with Tony Stark.
Oh yeah,
and it's young Robert Downey Jr. And I'm like, whoa. That looks really good. He looks like a teenager again. He's talking to his mom. He's talking to Howard Stark, and they say this really funny thing. He's like, and his mom's like, "Oh, he's been studying abroad, dear."
What's her name this time? Oh, damn!
And it's all, and then all of a sudden it all dissipates. It all goes away because there's the real Tony Stark. There's Robert Downey Jr. from right now, and it was a really cool visual. What's funny about this movie is that finally, as they go through the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe from Iron Man 1 to Civil War, you can see the progression of the CGI. because in Iron Man 1 there was like a lot of really cool CGI stuff, but you could tell it was CGI. This, I'm like, wait, they might have actually just, that might actually be Robert Downey Jr. and just
from
shaved.
back in the day.
Like, that was cool.
Yeah.
So they're doing all this. He's at MIT. He's accepting an award, and then he pays off all these grants because he's Tony Stark, of course. That's what he's gonna do.
Multi-billionaire.
And we find out that him and Pepper Potts are not on the best of terms right now, and they're basically saying that they broke up.
Yeah.
Then they go to, because he's trying to leave. He's trying to get out of there because he doesn't want to be there at that point.
Right.
And then he runs into this woman who played the villain in Luke Cage, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, she was she was in Luke Cage too. Like, I don't know how they're gonna explain that if they ever see her again. But like, what? What are you doing?
No, don't do it.
But anyways, because she's in a really serious role here. She's not trying to take over the world. She's a different character than what she is in Luke Cage.
Right.
Did you watch Luke Cage at all?
Not yet.
Oh my god, Mike.
I know.
Oh my god.
Jessica Jones though.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
Did you watch Daredevil?
Working on it.
Oh jeez. Punisher.
Yeah, Punisher. I'm working on Punisher.
Oh my god. You can skip Iron Fist. That's fine. But
I heard Iron Fist was good though.
I heard Iron Fist was trash.
I have
Anyways,
to fight
whatever.
for myself, but
she gives him she goes to reach in her pocket and totally thinks it's like a gun or something.
No.
And she pulls out a picture of a kid and she said, "This is my kid and you guys killed him," and plants it on him, and she walks away. So now there's this whole thing. People in Africa are mad, and they finally show
Johannesburg.
That's it. Yeah, okay.
That's
Johannesburg.
the city. That's the
So they
city.
finally
Johannesburg.
so Johannesburg basically blows up, even though it's just one building.
Yeah.
That they really didn't have too much control over, because if they didn't pick them up and put them up into the air,
people would have died. A lot of people.
More people would have died.
Yeah.
And they go forward and they're talking about the Sokovia Accords, which is basically to make the Avengers a part of the government and only have them do the government's bidding for it.
This is the movie screen equivalent of the Superhuman
Registration Act.
in the comics.
But one of the really, really cool things is that they show on the television that the Scarlet Witch is watching is King T'Chaka.
Oh, yeah.
They show King T'Chaka, which means that T'Challa, the Black Panther, well, T'Chaka was the Black Panther too, but he's too old.
Yeah.
So now T'Challa, the Black Panther, is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
One of the coolest things that, for most people who don't watch who don't follow the Marvel comics and the Marvel Cinematic Universe closely, you would have had no idea what the Black Panther is, because this is the first time you're talking about it. I mean, they say Wakanda in Avengers: Age of Ultron,
right.
But now you can actually see what Wakanda is.
Yeah.
A little bit. Just a little bit, just a taste. So they're doing the Sokovia Accords, but they show the Avengers 3 days before, which, by the way, that's really bad government. If they're showing them if they're telling them what's going to happen in 3 days without actually telling them this is going to happen in 3 days, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's a fight. Cap and Tony's painting out the picture of the kid that died in Sokovia.
He dropped a building on him.
They jumped the building on while we were kicking ass, and they show the videos of
Age of Ultron footage,
New York, of the New York invasion, where the Hulk just jumps into a building and kills somebody.
Destroys that building.
Just freaking Hulk.
Take it out.
And there's then they show Washington D.C. Even though, in all honesty, there really wasn't too big of a deal in Washington D.C. because all it was taken out was the Hydra Shield headquarters.
Yeah.
There might have been some collateral damage, but there really wasn't too much.
Right.
And then they show Sokovia, where you see there's just one building going down like this, which is basically showing that that's probably the building that killed him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you can tell the Scarlet Witch is all is upset because she saw her home basically destroyed. So they're all fighting. They're choosing sides, and then during all this, Peggy Carter dies finally.
Yeah.
From her old age.
Captain America gets a text on his phone.
Yeah.
While he's literally sitting at the table trying to decide if he should sign it or not, even though he knows he's
not
gonna.
to, yeah.
And we know he's not gonna. But it kind of like leaves you iffy, and then he goes to the service for her, and it's really kind of sad.
It was sad, but the thing was though is that like she was a disposable character, which is really weird to say since she was like a main factor in the first movie, and she was like a really cool like cameo in the second movie.
Right.
But like a really cool but sad cameo in the second movie. But in this, you never really see her. You see a photo of her.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most people will like her from Peggy Carter, the Agent Carter TV series, which I did. And unfortunately, I never watched.
I never watched.
So, but I mean, I felt sad for her, but I wasn't like overcome with emotion.
I got so sad. Oh no, she's dying. This is sad.
Then they find that, but then Sharon Carter comes out,
and we don't know it's her.
And we don't know. And we don't know it's actually Sharon Carter.
Peggy. And it's like, ooh, damn.
And she says a line from the comic book that Captain America says in the comic book to Spider-Man, and it is, if somebody tells you to move, you plant your feet like a tree, and you say no, you move. And I'm like, that's from the comic book. That's where it's from.
Oh yeah.
It was really cool, but it could have been delivered in such a better way.
Yeah.
Like that's one of my pet peeves about this movie was that like, again, this movie's great.
It's phenomenal.
They really shouldn't have made her such a main factor. Like she helps Cap a lot in this movie, but it's really somewhat unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, basically the only reason why is because they're trying to put another love interest in Cap's face. I mean, he already has Black Widow. He had Peggy Carter, and now Sharon Carter.
Right.
And so, do you want to explain what happened to the Sokovia Accords?
After them, or like after where we're at right now?
After where we're at right now. What happened to the Sokovia Accords?
So pretty much, Iron Man decides he's gonna sign it because they should know, the government should know who's got what powers or who's got what abilities. So he signs it. War Machine signs it with him because he's going back because he's his boy. So War Machine signs it, and then Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, she goes with it, and then who else was it? Not Vision, and then Captain America sides Captain America, Falcon, Vision, Scarlet Witch, and then back on Iron Man's side, they went to get. Iron Man knew a guy, so he went to New York, and he's talking to.
Oh, you're skipping way ahead.
Yeah, well.
So what I was talking about was that with the Sokovia Accords, you finally meet T'Challa, who's played by Chadwick Boseman. Everybody loves Chadwick Boseman. Right. Chadwick Boseman's awesome. And him and T'Chaka, they have, Chadwick Boseman, T'Challa, and his father T'Chaka have this.
Talking about. At the
Sokovia Accords.
I misinterpreted that.
Anyways, it's okay. At the Sokovia Accords, they have a little conversation about being a leader and being a king and being a just king and stuff like that. And the Accords start, and then T'Challa, for some reason, everybody's taking the seat except T'Challa. T'Challa's like, nah, I'm gonna go look out this window.
Hey, is that a window? I've never seen those before. What's up there? What's going on down there?
And there's a van, and there's bomb sniffing dogs and all that stuff.
Freaking out.
And all of a sudden you hear, "Get down, everybody, get down!" And the child runs towards his dad, and all of a sudden, boom!
It's not fast enough.
Everything's gone. Everything. And T'Challa's dead. Somehow Black Widow's right. I have no idea how she
T'Chaka's dead.
T'Chaka's dead, yeah. T'Chaka's dead, I'm sorry. T'Challa's not dead. T'Chaka's dead. T'Challa is holding his dead father in his arms and stuff like that.
Yes, he's dying.
And after he puts on the Black Panther ring, which is a really cool sign because he wears it in the comics too.
Oh yeah, because he's talking to Black Widow.
Yeah, because Black Widow comes over and says, "I'm sorry for your father's death," and he goes, "We don't believe in death. We believe in the afterlife." And he takes his
just the beginning.
Yeah, and he takes the ring and puts it on, and he just walks away.
Like, ooh, it's gonna get good.
And then we'll come later on to find out that it was the Winter Soldier that did it. Maybe. They're saying it was Bucky
Perhaps.
Barnes who set off the charge, who killed all the people.
Yeah.
So continuing on, did they go to what, Budapest to get him? Is that where it is?
I think it is.
Yeah, Cap goes to Budapest to get Bucky, and there's this whole cool fight where he's in Bucky's apartment. They're fighting government agents, stuff like that.
Austria, I think it is.
I don't think it's Austria because it starts with B. I'm pretty sure it's Budapest.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but
A lot of weird stuff happens in Budapest.
a lot of people, yeah, but we don't know one of them because they won't tell us.
Soon.
But like Bucky used a battering ram, even though he already has a metal arm and stuff like that, and Cap's helping him get away from everybody. And then they jump out a window, and who's right there? The Black Panther.
Like tackles him to the ground.
Oh yeah, and you see, because somebody shoots him. The government shoots the Black Panther, and all the bullets just drop because of the vibranium suit.
Oh god.
Oh, he is so cool. His design, because they're like, we're gonna take the design from the comic. We're gonna make him lose the cape though.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make it so that it's a full body suit, not like the mouth cut out here. It looks so badass.
Mm-hmm.
It is beautiful. And they have this whole chase. They go into an underground highway thing where they're running faster than these cars. I have no idea how.
And those cars are going like 45, 50 miles an hour.
They're running faster than these cars. I don't know how they're doing it.
Super speed.
Black Panther destroys a car because he uses vibranium claws, and he makes a car flip that Captain America's in. Bucky steals a dude's motorcycle by grabbing the motorcycle.
Grabs the motorcycle midair and just uses the momentum, spins it around, and gets on
and he goes.
Flies away.
The whole thing ends. It's so awesome. War Machine comes down with a bunch of government agents and traps them all. And
congratulations, you're a criminal, Cap. Oh
no! And Black Panther takes off his mask and reveals that it's Chadwick Boseman. I'm like, oh my god, I already knew who it was, but it's so cool.
For people that don't know who it is, they're like,
oh my god,
what?
So this whole thing's going on. I'm gonna skip a little bit further.
Yeah. So we got sides, picking sides.
We're picking sides. They find Tony Stark and Cap meet for the first time since the Sokovia Accords, and he's telling him he hands him a pen that said that it was his dad that was significance to him. I forget what the significance was to him though.
It was like I think it was president. President used it.
It was the president. They signed it to like put Captain America into something, and he's like, "Here, you can use this to sign the Accords." And Cap's like, "I want to, Tony, but if I see something going down, then I'm not gonna get on top of it." And he goes, "Sometimes I wish I could, but I can't." And Tony goes, "Sometimes I wish I could punch you in your perfect teeth."
Yeah. And then he's like, I'd hate to break up a perfect set. And he
Yeah.
sets a pen down, signifying, oh, it's on. It's going.
But the whole time, Bucky's in incarceration, and we meet our villain of the movie, Zemo.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not Baron Zemo, it's his son. Because Baron Zemo, he leads the Masters of Evil.
Mm-hmm.
This is just, wasn't he a mercenary before, but then he had a family?
And then...
So, his whole backstory is that his family was killed on Sokovia too, and he wants to get revenge on the Avengers.
And he keeps playing the same voicemails over on his phone.
Yeah, and you think, because when I first saw it, I'm like, every time he plays it, I think it's like he's talking to somebody, but then he plays it the second time, and I'm like...
No, he ain't talking to nobody.
I'm like, whoa, that's... Because, like, this is the first Marvel villain where it's not like, I'm going to beat you into submission to make you do what I want you to do. He's like, I'm going to make sure that this team is torn apart from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
It's very... it's almost like Loki, kind of.
Right.
But he doesn't use any powers. It's literally... It's manipulative. It's manipulative.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's getting in your head, man.
But he sneaks into the S.H.I.E.L.D. compound, and and this is the first time that we meet, is it Thaddeus Ross? Who played Bilbo? What's his name?
Bilbo? Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's
that guy.
It's not Thunderbolt Ross from the Incredible Hulk. It's Ross from the Black Panther series.
What was his name?
Dang
it!
Anyways, So we finally meet him. Like, there's so many characters in this movie. Like, jeez.
Yeah, this is one of the biggest Marvel movies that has been released.
But
rosters of characters.
Oh yeah, like until we get to Infinity War.
Yeah, where that was like what 96 or something.
Oh, they said like 46 of their superheroes, and they're not even saying how many other people are going to be in it.
Oh my god.
So, they add in the Zemo, he goes to. He's the psychiatrist in this part, and he has the book.
But it's in a briefcase where they can't see it.
And he starts saying "homecoming." What is it? Freight car, streetcar, stuff like that. And Bucky knows, like, no.
He knows what's going on.
And he starts trying to punch his way out, but it's too late.
He stops.
He gets controlled by Zemo, and he basically just tells him, "Run amok, have fun, go do what you're doing." And Cap stops him, and they go to this place where, there's a whole fight in the compound, and Thunderbolt Ross comes in, and he says, "I want Captain America in 36 hours." And he's like, "Give me 48." It's like, "Now you have 24," or something like that.
Yeah.
He just makes it lower because he's Thunderbolt Ross, and so he goes, and so Black Widow goes, "What are you gonna do?" He's like, "I have a card up my sleeve," and then that's when we go to Queens.
That's right. That's when we go to Queens and we see Spider-Man.
Spider-Man for the first time in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Really good, but I'm a Tobey Maguire purist. I'm sorry.
See, the thing is, though,
sorry.
We'll talk more about that once we get to Spider-Man Homecoming in
2 weeks, 3 weeks,
3 weeks, somewhere around there.
Yeah, we're getting there.
But personally, I think I have to say this is my favorite.
Yeah.
This is my favorite Spider-Man. I really do. But
he does a good job, but
like we'll talk more about it when we get to Spider-Man, because we're gonna talk
about that movie so
much. We're gonna have to debate. We're gonna have a debate about this, and I know we are, since nobody here is gonna talk about Andrew Garfield anyway. So
nobody likes it. I have it upstairs. It's got so much dust on it.
I like Andrew Garfield.
He's okay.
But anyways,
the best. But
here comes the best fight we've seen in a Marvel Universe movie thus far.
Airport.
And they bring back Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. They bring back
Ant-Man, Paul Rudd.
Ant-Man as Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. And his thing's really funny because he's asleep in the thing. He's like, "Wake up!" And he goes, "Wow!" He's like, "Wow, you're Captain America!" And he pushes on Captain America's pecs, and he's like, "Solid.
You're really strong."
And he looks at Falcon, and he goes, "Hey, guy." He's just like, "Hey, what's up, Tic Tac?" So good. So this fight, we can't even describe it to you.
It's so awesome. Good. Oh my god.
Oh, there's a part where Ant-Man hands Cap a little truck, and he thinks it's full of water. It's not. It's full of gas. And
he throws it at the enlargement thing.
He shrinks it and just boom.
I thought that was a water truck.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I thought that was a water truck. Spider-Man's so cool in this. So here's the reason why. I'm just going to tell you really quickly why. Even in this movie, before he even had his own Homecoming movie, he had the quips that would not stop. It was amazing. That's what Spider-Man is. And the reason why I won't say Tobey Maguire was a really good Spider-Man is because he never really talked to Spider-Man. The only thing he really did as Spider-Man was yell. Like, "No!" And Mary Jane! And Goblin! And the only thing he ever said in that was, "It's not up to you, Gobby." I'm like, oh my god, that's so terrible. And
it's so good though.
And he with this one, it's he's trying to impress Mr. Stark because this is his first job on a real Avengers mission and stuff like that. And there's this whole fight with him and Falcon and what's it called? Winter Soldier. And he knocks Falcon out, and he catches the punch from Winter Soldier. He goes, "Dude, you have a metal arm. That's awesome." Yeah. And he gets thrown
because at this point he hasn't been exposed to other superheroes.
Yeah. At this point, he's 6 months into.
Yeah.
He Uncle Ben's already dead.
Thank God. I can't stand to see Uncle Ben out in the street again.
Did you ever see the Twitter post where it's like Spider-Man's getting a reboot, and where it announces Spider-Man's getting a reboot, and somebody on it's Uncle Ben. He's like, "Please stop shooting me." It hurts.
Stop killing me.
And but he gets tossed up to the rafters, and he's just like, he's like, just like, I like you guys, but I have to impress Mr. Stark today, and he starts doing all this stuff, and Falcon throws something, or no, Winter Soldier throws something at him, and it's like a big like map thing that you see in like airports and stuff like that.
Oh,
to tell you
yeah.
where you're going.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, buddy, I thought you lost this." He throws it back.
He's
He
like,
throws
"Oh,
it
no!"
back at him, and I'm just loving. He's chewing so much scenery in this, and he's barely in it.
Yeah.
And he makes such an impact. Spider-Man is my favorite character in this movie, besides the Black Panther.
Yeah.
And because the Black Panther's in this entire movie, he's in this movie the entire time, and I'm just like, oh my god, I want more Spider-Man. And there's this one at the end. So here's the really cool thing, because I'm getting excited. I really want to jump around and talk about these things. I think you know where I'm going to go with this. What the best part about this fight was?
Fighting Ant-Man?
Yeah.
Giant Man?
And what happens?
Oh.
He turns into Giant Man.
And Giant Man grabs a War Machine out of the
he's
sky.
like, oh, he's just laughing.
1970?
Like
Star Wars?
Yeah, he's just like Empire Strikes Back.
Remember those really big things? When he was talking about that, I'm like, yes, it's called Return of the Jedi. No, it's Empire. It's Empire Strikes
He was
Back.
an Empire.
And then I'm like, they're AT-ATs.
No, dude, that was so good though, because Tony, because War Machine's just like, hey, Tony, how old is this kid? He's just like, I didn't carbon date him, and he's turning around Ant-Man, because the entire thing with Giant Man is so cool, because he's picking up everything, he's slamming and stuff like that, and then the Vision goes through, and he's just like,
just inside me.
He's just like, something within me. He's just so.
I really like it.
Paul Rudd is just so good.
He is.
It sucks that he's only been in like 2 movies.
Yeah.
Like, I want more Ant-Man. And we're getting it soon, but I'm like, I want more. And he's just so good. And they do the whole AT-AT thing where they're spinning around his legs. And,
like the toe cables on snow speeders.
And they hit him, and he falls, and he just goes through a plane. And he hits the ground. And he hits his helmet to make it come off. And he's
Anyone got any orange slices?
Anybody got any orange slices?
I really like, if you don't know the comic book back when they released Avengers back in 19 whatever it was, they did a cover of it where it was Hawkeye with the arrow, and on the arrow you could see Ant-Man. And they did that in the movie, because he's like, you ready? He's like, yeah, let's go. And he's like, on the tip of the arrow, and they show it from the front, and it's really cool.
He's like, yeah, I'm good, arrow guy, I'm good.
I'm like, oh my god.
And because that's the part I skipped. He goes into the Iron Man suit, like what you see in, what you see when he goes into Falcon's gear in Ant-Man.
Yeah.
He goes into the Iron Man suit in this one. He starts going
this
like
looks
this.
important, and he's ripping everything up. What? Who is that?
And
it's your conscience.
He's just like, who's talking? He's just like, it's your conscience. We haven't talked in a while. And he starts destroying things and
ripping everybody.
He goes, clean the systems, and you see him fly out. It's so good.
Also, like, foam kicks him out.
After this, I really want to watch that fight scene again. Dude, it's on YouTube, and there's times where I'm just like, I'm bored, and I'm just gonna watch this fight for 20 minutes. It's a 20-minute fight.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even feel like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's just so good.
Oh, it's so good.
This whole movie's just so good.
So Captain America and Bucky, they leave, they escape,
right?
And they're going to Serbia.
But how did they escape? Who helps them?
Oh, Black Widow. Black Widow turns on the
Team Tony.
On Team Tony, even though they still accept her. It's a whole like moot point of this movie, but they go to Serbia because there's 5 other Winter Soldiers out there. So, and they're going to go and kill. They're going to go stop them. They're going to go make sure that they can't do this anymore. Yeah. And they get to the place, and Iron Man shows up at the same time because he's there. Because they finally they come together to stop this because they know it's a bigger thing than what they're fighting about.
Oh, we skipped one of the most important parts.
What?
When the jet is flying away from the airport and War Machine goes after it.
Oh,
and then Vision goes after it, but Vision and Scarlet Witch are kind of like, hey, what's up, girl? They're kind of getting that going. Yeah. So Vision's like, I got this, I'll stop him. So they're flying away, and
he shoots
Falcon. Falcon is going. So it's the jet, War Machine, Falcon, Vision. So they're flying, and then the Vision shoots at Falcon, and Falcon closes his wings, does a roll, and the shot just goes right past him, hits War Machine's arc reactor,
Yep.
and you just see the suit go dark, and he just falls straight down.
Yep.
Which, when they did that, I felt like when they showed him falling up in the sky from his point of view, it was higher up than when they show him smack. And he hits the ground and makes this giant crater.
The perspective is a weird thing, and especially in these kind of movies. But I mean, the fall, what the impact of the fall, it paralyzes Rhodey.
Yeah. Smacks that ground, makes a crater.
Yeah.
And then Falcon tries to help, like, oh, this all screwed up.
Yeah.
So Falcon goes to help, and then Iron Man just shoots him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, damn, Tony.
Yeah, they take him to the raft, which is a really cool
superhero
prison that's in basically the ocean, and it's underwater. So you really, unless you want to drown yourself, you really can't escape.
Yeah.
The only ones and it's Hawkeye, Falcon, Scarlet Witch, Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, and they're all captured, and then Tony figures out that where they're going, and so now we're back in Serbia, and they go to this room where they see all the Winter Soldiers,
the tanks,
and they open up the tanks, and they all have a bullet in their head. They're all dead.
Because Zemo got to him first.
And what happens is that Zemo shows a tape to Tony, and it's
the footage of the car accident from the beginning.
What's the it's December 16th?
December 16th, 1992.
It's like 1990 something.
1991. I think it's 1991 or 92.
Okay. It's like December 16th, 1994. And I think it's 94.
Is it 94?
I'm pretty sure it's 94.
92. But anyways, we'll get
either way. So,
we'll figure it out.
And Iron Man sees the footage, and he's like, I know that road.
I know that car.
And it's the beginning when Bucky killed those people. It was Howard and Martha Stark. And they showed that Bucky killed his parents. Big reveal. Huge. And the thing was that he goes to Steve and he goes, did you know? And
Tony,
and
did you know?
He's like, Tony, I don't want to. He's like, did you know? Don't bullshit me, Rogers.
He's like, yeah, I knew.
He's like, yeah. And all of a sudden, this huge fight breaks out between Captain America and Tony Stark with Bucky in there, and then Zemo's gone, and he's trying to escape. And there's this huge fight, and it's such an emotional fight too, because Tony's like, I'm gonna kill you just like you killed my mom. It's better than Batman and Superman. Martha! Save Martha!
God. We have the same name of our mother. Yeah. Let's be friends.
Like, because he goes, Tony, he was my friend. He's just like, I don't care. He killed my mom. Oh, and I'm like, whoa, that hit way harder than the Martha part did from Superman and Batman.
Damn.
And the whole fight keeps going. You're just gonna keep zooming really quickly. Zemo's about to kill himself, and then Black Panther
shows up.
Black Panther stops him. He's just like, the living aren't done with you yet. And that's the whole thing without Zemo.
That's so good.
And the whole fight ends. They're in this little corridor where they're fighting, and Tony rips off Bucky's arm, or he blows it off with his repulsor.
He blows it off with his repulsor blast.
And they have this really cool shot of Captain America going like this with his shield and Iron Man going like this with his repulsors, because it's from the comics where they're seeing it.
Iron Man's hands are on the shield, and you just see the blast.
Yeah, and the picture. I love that in these comic book movies now, they're showing these amazing panels from the comic books.
Yeah.
Like that happened, and going back to Batman and Superman, I mean, that movie sucked beyond belief, and we'll talk about that sometime later on. And they showed one part of Bruce Wayne going like this from the Dark Knight Returns, and the comic book, he's like this, going like this from the building and stuff like that when they're fighting Doomsday. Yeah. But and then the whole fight ends because Steve plants the shield into Tony's arc reactor and shuts down the
arc reactor. Destroys pretty much
the suit and
neutralizes the suit.
And Tony's getting up slowly. He's like, that shield doesn't belong to you, and he drops the shield.
With Bucky. He's got like Bucky like this. Yeah. He's got the shield, and Tony Stark's like, that's my father's shield. That doesn't belong to you. And he just drops it.
Yep. It's such an emotional movie, and it makes me want to watch it again because I know we recently watched the movie too, and I just want to watch it again.
Once is not enough.
I know, it's such a... After this movie, I saw it 4 more times.
God, it's worth it.
In the theater.
Yeah.
In the theater itself. And then when it first came out, like, I watched it and I kept watching it over and over again because I wanted to see what Easter eggs I couldn't find and stuff like that. Like, what was your first reaction when you watched this movie?
It pretty much took the top 3 spots. Like, it moved all my previous ones that I loved. Yep. It bumped them all down, and this one's like...
Is it number 1?
Yeah.
Oh, you put it number 1?
Wow. Oh,
yeah.
Winter Soldier, Original Avengers.
It's in my top 3. I will say that. I'm not saying it's my number 1, but it is in my top 3.
Oh, wait, I forgot about Ant-Man. Top 5. It's top 5.
This movie was so good because after Winter Soldier, we're just like, yo, Captain America's a really good character. Because in Captain America, the first Avenger, he was a good character, but it was like he was so Boy Scoutish that it almost made you sick.
And then after we've seen the Marvel Universe for a while carry on, and then we go back to Captain America, he's like a completely different character.
Oh yeah.
And then after this, seeing all the movies from Winter Soldier to Civil War changed him completely again.
Yeah.
So he's even more intense.
Because even in like Avengers, the first Avengers movie, he was the most boring character in the movie. He was
kind of flat, but he was really Boy Scouting in that one too.
Oh, yeah, he was there. He's like, this is what we're doing. We're doing this for the world. We're doing this for the country. We're to save everything. And there was a little bit of spark in there when he's talking to Tony about take off the suit. What are you? And then Tony's like, billionaire playboy philanthropist. He's like, put on the suit. Let's go a few rounds and stuff like that.
Because he knows without the suit, he's nothing.
And and in that he was, but then you get to Winter Soldier, and it's like, oh, his country's not what it was. And then he gets this. He's like, man, I have to turn on my friends to do what I stand for and stuff like that. And you see these character arcs, and they're just so good.
Oh yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah,
like this movie is so good. It's so good.
And then in every time we see Captain America fighting somebody, the guy that he's fighting either asks him or says like, "Have you had enough?" And he always says that one line. That one line in every single movie. I could do this all day. I'm like, oh. And when you said it in this, I'm like, oh damn. Oh my god. Oh. Anyways, so Mike, what was your favorite part about this movie? And I think I already know what it is, but I like the scene where Iron Man and Captain America are fighting, and it's just like the comic book, and they're tossing. Oh my god. They're tossing the shield back and forth, Bucky and Cap, and it's kind of like they're telling you right there in that point that Cap is going to pass the shield to Bucky, and he's going to become Cap. But if they go a different route, then it'll be a different character. But I like that scene, and I like the airport scene.
The airport scene was so good.
It's so awesome.
So let's talk about the ending credits.
Right.
So the first ending credit scene is Bucky being frozen once again, unfortunately, but this time he's in Wakanda.
And they're telling Black Panther's telling Captain America, we're going to take care of him, we're going to get him right, and he's going to be completely different when he comes out. Mm-hmm. And he's got no arm.
Everything's everything's different. And Cap goes, well, what if they try to come get him? And Black Panther goes, let them try.
And it pans out, and there's a giant panther statue.
Yes. And I'm just like, oh my god, it's Wakanda!
It's so good.
And then the final one is going back to Spider-Man. He's back at home with Hot Aunt May, Marissa Tomei.
We need to talk about that for a minute after we get done here.
Okay. Because, dude, I actually like Marissa Tomei as
too.
Ant-Man. Or Aunt May. What does they say? Ant-Man?
Ant-Man.
As Aunt May. I like her as Aunt May.
Yeah.
But because he's in a lot of pain, and he has a watch sort of that Tony gave him.
Oh yeah, it's like the web shooter kind of.
Yeah, it's that's what it is. It's the web shooter. That's what it is. And he's a big black guy, and she's like, she goes. So how big was the guy? He's like, oh, he was really big. Yeah. And she gives him peas to put over his eye.
Puts it on his eye.
And she goes, all right, Slayer, get some rest. and he goes like this. He's playing with it, and all of a sudden something shoots up. It's a light, and then you see the spider symbol. This is why I love this Spider-Man so much, because they're so towards the comic books about it.
And she comes back into the room, and he's like, oh, and he's like hiding it.
Not yet.
No. Is that Homecoming?
Yes, that's Homecoming. You're jumping
Oh.
way ahead.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so he doesn't do that.
Not yet. Later on he does in another movie, but I love that Spider-Man so much. Like, that is actually my favorite Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Just like Ben Affleck is my favorite Batman.
He's my favorite too.
I love Ben
I
Affleck
do too. People are gonna hate us for saying that.
Tom Holland.
Yeah, he's so good.
Tom Holland is my favorite Spider-Man. I know why you like Tobey Maguire. He was a good nerdy Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I did not like his Spider-Man. I liked his costume. His costume was nice.
Costume was dope.
But because the thing was with this Spider-Man, it was way too serious.
Yeah.
There was so much seriousness about his Spider-Man. We're gonna do this right now.
We're gonna do it right
now.
Right now.
I liked his Spider-Man. I really did. But there was so much seriousness about it. Then when you saw like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, where it was still pretty kind of serious, but there was a lot more joking with it too. Yeah. Where like the dude pulled out a knife in that movie, and he's just like, "Oh no, my one weakness knife is to go like this and shoots the web."
He shoots the web at him,
and he goes achoo and shoots the web in his nuts and stuff like that. But then you get to this Spider-Man, and he's dude.
Third time's the charm.
When they went back to high school, I'm like, "Oh come on,
yeah, I thought
do an adult, dude." Like, I just want an adult, and then they show this. I'm like, Marvel got it right again.
They got me.
Disney did it right one more time, because he's such a sympathetic character.
Yeah.
Even when he's not doing anything that you want to sympathize with.
Yeah.
He's like, and he doesn't say that with great power comes great responsibility, because for some reason they just refuse to say that now.
Yeah, even though that's like a staple in the character.
And like, because another thing that killed me about the Tobey Maguire one is that he didn't
the web was like in his vein.
Yeah, he didn't have web shooters, just came out of him. I'm like, no.
No, let's not do that.
But with this one, he's just so sympathetic. He's such a good, hard kid, and you can tell he is. And he's just so awesome.
He's there
because he brings
there.
That's Spider-Man to me.
Yeah.
That's such a good Spider-Man too. Like, again, I love the Tobey Maguire one, but this was the ultimate, and I love it. Like, they finally got the eyes too that open wide too.
Oh, like the comic books, so they like get
so it's
big.
like, oh geez, and you like when you spray it, they get bigger
because he can't see that good.
Yeah, and they address it because Tony has because Tony gave him the suit where he can like zoom in and stuff like that. Because the reason why they did this is because of Deadpool, because
Deadpool's face is so animated.
Because in the movie, Deadpool's eyes, they actually get bigger and smaller, because that's the first ever comic book movie that I've ever seen where they actually had the eyes be white, like they were supposed to be in the comic book. Well, we'll talk about Deadpool 2 because Deadpool 2's coming out later on.
So good.
But that's why I love the Spider-Man. He's such a good Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
Tom Holland is so good.
Yeah, I'll give it to him. I like it. But it's just Tobey Maguire's always good.
And so, what's the reason why you like Tobey Maguire so much better?
That's what I grew up with.
I mean,
and I feel it was more like the '90s animated version of Spider-Man, where he's like a college student in college, and he's got the glasses, and then he can see miraculously because of a spider bite. But I thought the whole part, like the web coming out of him, was kind of hokey.
Yeah,
it's like no, give him the web shooter, have him put it on, and then cover it up, and then carries around on his belt the web cartridges.
Oh, dude, I can't wait to get to Spider-Man Homecoming.
We'll get to it. But
anyways, Mike, what's your final rating for this out of 5?
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
It's a 10. It's just such a good movie, certified.
Oh.
Even if you're not a comic book fan, you need to see this movie.
If Tyler were here, you know what he'd give it?
5.
7 out of 5 lemons.
7 out of 5 lemons. So, anyways, guys.
5 out of 5.
Our contest is still going on. For you to get this Avengers art, make sure you go to our Facebook, like, comment, subscribe, and tell us what who you think is going to survive the Infinity War, who you don't think is going to survive.
My emotional state is not going to survive, Brian.
I'm pretty sure we're down to 4 weeks.
I think so.
It's because coming up next we got Doctor Strange.
That movie's so good.
We
do
got
not drink or do any sort of illegal substance before you watch that movie because you will freak out.
We got Doctor Strange, Guardians 2,
Homecoming,
Spider-Man: Homecoming,
oh god,
Thor: Ragnarok, then Black Panther. So we have 4 weeks because we're officially doing this. We're combining the Thor and Black Panther reviews
because Robert Downey Jr., the guy that he is, got the release date bumped back. Which hey, I'm all good for it.
The earlier release date, we're all good for it. I already bought my ticket. Already got mine.
I got that movie pass.
So, anyways, guys, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. We'll see you next week for Doctor Strange.